Intro, the sound of resistance. They say music is universal, but in America, it was born in chains. When we talk about the soundtrack of this nation, we're really talking about stolen sound. Black people created the soul of American music, but white inherited it, copyrighted it, and profited while the originators were left in the shadows. This is the story they never taught us, how from the cotton fields to the Billboard charts, black sound was silenced, copied, and cashed in on. We'll dive deep into the untold history behind America's most beloved genres. This isn't just a tale of influence, it's a story of theft, of exploitation, and of systemic erasure. When we say black music built America, we mean it literally. The rhythms, the instruments, the harmonies, all birthed from the pain, joy, and genius of a people denied their humanity. Blues wasn't just music, it was survival. The blues wasn't just a genre, it was a survival strategy. It was born from slavery, forged in segregation, and filled with pain too deep for words. It came from field hollers, spirituals, and the echo of broken families. The earliest form of the blues emerged in the late 19th century, often sung in cotton fields or work camps. These songs told stories of loss, resilience, and longing. They were coded messages, expressions of grief, and declarations of hope. When Mamie Smith recorded Crazy Blues in 1920, it marked the first time a black female blues artist was recorded commercially. The record sold over 1 million copies, but she saw only a fraction of the profit. Other pioneers like Bessie Smith, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Lead Belly, and Ma Rainey laid the groundwork for the music industry as we know it. They didn't just sing, they testified. Their recordings traveled across the country, even as they were barred from hotels, radio stations, and mainstream venues. White audiences consumed the music, but rarely acknowledged the creators. The music was labeled race records, segregating it from the mainstream. But when white artists began copying the style, often note for note, it was suddenly labeled pop, rock, or simply American. The whitewashing of rock and roll. Let's talk about Sister Rosetta Tharpe, the real godmother of rock and roll. She was a queer black woman from Arkansas who blended gospel with electric guitar riffs that made crowds scream. She toured with a full band in the 1930s and 40s, and her energy, distortion, and stage presence inspired a generation of white artists. Tharpe's music directly influenced Johnny Cash, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and even Elvis himself. Yet, history books barely mention her. In 2018, she was finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, decades after her death. While black pioneers were inventing rock, white artists were packaging it for white audiences. Elvis Presley released his version of Hound Dog in 1956, a track originally recorded by Big Mama Thornton in 1952. Thornton's version was gritty, emotional, and authentic. Elvis's version was cleaned up, commercialized, and far more profitable. The music industry played a critical role in this theft. White executives would sign black artists, strip them of their rights, and then hand the same songs to white performers. This cycle became a blueprint for cultural appropriation in the American music industry. Elvis, the king, who copied the throne. Elvis didn't invent rock and roll. He perfected the theft. He built his image on black music, black fashion, and black culture. He attended black churches, frequented Beale Street, and openly admitted to listening to gospel and rhythm and blues. But while black artists were being arrested for indecent dancing or inciting riots, Elvis was being hailed as America's golden boy. His 1956 performance of Hound Dog on the Milton Berle show caused a moral panic. But the same movements had been performed by black artists for years, without the fame, without the respect. White America needed a safer face. Elvis became the sanitized version of black genius, palatable to white parents, promotable on white TV, and protected by a white-controlled industry. Chuck Berry wrote the blueprint. Little Richard performed the fire. Elvis got the crown. The pattern repeats in hip-hop. Hip-hop was born out of broken systems. In the 1970s, redlining, police brutality, and underfunded schools created a pressure cooker. Out of that pressure came innovation. MCs on the mic, DJs spinning breakbeats, graffiti artists tagging rebellion into the walls, and dancers creating whole languages with their bodies. DJ Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa, these were the architects. But once again, the industry watched, waited, and swooped in. Labels realized they could profit off the edge as long as they could control the image. The Beastie Boys became hip hop's first major white success story. Eminem became its best selling artist. Both were talented, but both also benefited from the narrative that they were surprising or different for being white in a black genre. Meanwhile, black artists had to fight stereotypes, being labeled angry, violent, or unmarketable. The system promoted gangsta rap while sidelining conscious rap. They sold black pain, but rarely invested in black futures. Labels, lies, and lawsuits. Behind every chart-topping album is a contract, and for black artists, those contracts have often been traps. They've signed away their publishing, their royalties, even their names. Take Sam Cooke, one of the first black artists to own his masters and launch his own label. He was demanding equity before it was trendy. In 1964, he was murdered under suspicious circumstances. The official story never sat right. TLC sold 10 million copies of their album Crazy Sexy Cool and filed for bankruptcy in 1995. Prince changed his name to a symbol in protest of his label's control. Megan Thee Stallion had to sue her label just to release music. Even today, young black artists are often signed to 360 deals that strip them of creative and financial freedom. White executives write the checks, own the masters, and steer the culture. It's exploitation, just with better branding. What TikTok did to black dance creators. In the digital era, TikTok became a goldmine for dance trends, but it also became a new frontier for cultural theft. Black teens created the viral dances that fueled the app's growth, but white influencers often reaped the benefits. Remember the Renegade? Created by Jalaiah Harmon. But when the dance blew up, it wasn't her doing it on The Tonight Show. It was white TikTok stars. The Savage Challenge, made by black creators. Same with the Junebug, the Woe, and so many more. But major brand deals, sponsorships, and press often skipped the originators. The erasure is faster now, more subtle, but it's still painful. It's still exploitation, and it's still happening in front of millions unless we call it out. Cultural theft in plain sight. Theft doesn't always look like stealing. Sometimes it's rebranding, sometimes it's exclusion, sometimes it's just silence. Genres like country music are widely believed to be white, but the banjo came from West Africa. Black artists like DeFord Bailey, Charlie Pride, and Leslie Riddle were country pioneers, and yet their names are forgotten. Even jazz, one of America's most iconic genres, was whitewashed. Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and Miles Davis shaped it, but white band leaders got the magazine covers. White critics decided what was sophisticated. Streaming hasn't solved the problem. Algorithms favor established, often white acts. Radio play remains segregated, and industry gatekeepers still hold power over what becomes mainstream. What we can do about it. So what now? We name names. We tell the truth. We support black artists not just with likes, but with money, with shares, with advocacy. Buy directly from black musicians. Amplify creators on social media. Pressure labels to provide fair contracts and transparency. Demand black history be included in music education. Platforms like Bandcamp and Patreon allow fans to directly fund artists. Use them, promote them. Remember, ownership is protection, visibility is survival. Final thoughts: protect the culture. Black music built America, but it also exposed America, its contradictions, its inequalities, its dreams. Every beat, every lyric, every riff was born from struggle and brilliance. This isn't just about credit, it's about justice, it's about truth. It's about reclaiming a narrative that was stolen, rewritten, and sold back to us with the soul stripped out. They took the sound, they took the money, but they can't take the truth. We're telling it now, and we won't stop. Follow, share, educate, protect the culture, reclaim the legacy, because what they never taught us is exactly what we're here to teach.